fucking hate work.
I mean, I have to work from home. I don't get out of it that easy.
Yeah.
Um,
I'd rather work from home.
Sorry.
I'd rather work from home.
Working from home has been so much more practical for like my family, for example.
Yeah.
But like in terms of a break, like a, a problem with it being it's the normality for me. Like for me, I like routine.
Yeah.
I'm somebody that not much upsets me, but throwing my routine off upsets me.
That is a classic BPD.
Yeah,
Actually, you see, I know a lot about BPD, man.
I was gonna say I would say you'll probably understand that. Um,
Yeah, I will, absolutely.
it's like for me,
Because,
it's this is probably gonna sound familiar. It's not so much that the routine has to change; it's that I have no say in whether it changes.
yeah, you like having control over your own life.
I like being able to feel like I have a say in what's going on,
Yeah.
and then on top of that as well, it's like the fact that I can't do anything about it is just unacceptable. Like I can't get to grips with the fact I can't do anything about it. Like it's not enough to tell me because you can't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you mean like without reason and
It's like
something.
I need things to have a reason and things have to make sense.
Yeah,
If it doesn't make sense, then you might as well have not might as well just tell me to shut up when I speak, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
It's like, again, it's like it's kind of having the validation of knowing that the reason that I'm doing these things is actually that it's the right thing to do because, again, it's that black and white thinking of well, if you're not telling me the reason why, that means there isn't a reason. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Um, and BPD is a nightmare to live with on a good day. Um, but as I say, it's like I don't know how else to live because I've had it probably my whole goddamn life or after. I don't know. It's like they say it forms. They say that like obviously you've got to be predisposed to have it, but there's traumatic events that kind of make it happen.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, and I think I know when it started for me. Like it evolved past being depressed. I think I know when that happened. And it became BPD. I can pinpoint that quite well. But the thing is that happened when I was 19, so nearly 10 years ago.
yeah,
So I'm kind of like, well, I don't know how else to exist. And I've never had therapy for BPD. I've just had sort of CBT courses to treat low mood or anxiety.
yeah. They don't work, do they?
Well, they do, but only to an extent.
They try and tell you to be like a different person than who you are.
Yeah, they basically tell me not to feel things. It's like part of BPD is that I feel everything extremely intensely.
Yeah,
And it's like, and there's also the whole um, what what people don't understand about BPD is that you do get irrationally angry about things,
yeah,
but that rage isn't anger directed at anybody. That's the rage is a cry for help.
yeah,
The rage is I need somebody to be here for me right now, kind of thing.
yeah,
It's like the only reason you're raging is because you're lashing out to defend yourself because you feel exposed and you feel vulnerable. Well, I'm at terms with my condition and I understand when I'm doing the way I see it is I know when I'm doing BPD things. It's just what people don't understand is you know when you're doing it, but you can't stop it.
yeah.
You can't stop it because it's almost physically painful to stop it.
I know these feelings all too well.
It's like the other week. I can't explain why I did it, but I got really frustrated during a disagreement. So my BPD was like, "Take that plate and smash it against the fucking wall right now." And I was like, "Why? Just smash the plate against the wall. Don't cause any harm to anybody. Just go and smash the plate."
Yeah. Maybe it'll make you feel better.
What?
Maybe it'll make you feel better.
And the weird thing is, it did.
Yeah.
It's like, but
Which is
at the consequence of, obviously, partner didn't like that very much. You know what I mean? There's that whole,
yeah.
well,
It was your this. You need to make a decision right here, right now.
yeah,
Feel that play.
yeah. I was like,
Feel the routine. Feel the
so
just
feel
take
feel
control.
feel like you're letting the frustration out. Like you've had this disagreement, and it's like you don't want to direct that anger at anybody because it's not at anybody. You're just not happy with the situation.
Yeah.
That's the point. It's like you're just angry at the situation, and you don't know how to let that. You don't know how to let that out. So what do? You do something stupid, i.e., smash a plate, or some people might take it out on themselves. Some people might go and start drinking alcohol or substance abuse and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I was saying to Chloe after the incident, because obviously it shook her up a little bit. She was like, "Why did you do that?" You know what I mean? And I'm not ashamed of it. It's like I have a condition at the end of the day. So I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying I know why it happened. And I know it wasn't directed at anybody. Like it was just my frustration's way of escaping in a way that wasn't directed at anyone, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt bad about it immediately afterwards, but again, it was my emotions thinking that that's a way to take control of the situation. It's like, here, do this, and then you'll stop feeling like this. You know, it's like you're almost sort of bargaining with your own emotions. You know what I mean?
Everything you're saying, I understand 100%.
Yeah.
It's like I live with it for 3 years at this point.
I mean, obviously, Chloe's very understanding, but it's like she says she doesn't have to like everything about it. I'm like, well, I'm not asking you to. You know what I mean?
No.
It's like I'm not asking you to. I'm just asking you to understand. I'm not asking you. It's like she said, like she was like she needed some time to process the fact that I just basically had a massive tantrum, effectively. But she's like she knows it wasn't directed at anybody. You know what I mean? She's like it's a behaviour trait she doesn't like. I'm like, well, I don't like it either. You know what I mean? But it's like the only problem with BPD is it can make things like work quite difficult as well.
Oh yeah.
Because people are either with you or against you.
And most of the time it's against.
Yeah, or you see, one other thing is that you notice every little thing, and it's not about taking it personally. It's like you notice everything, and because you notice everything, you notice like really subtle sort of ways of people being passive aggressive with you. You notice it. You know what I mean? Like rather than people who can just be like, oh well, this person was just being X, Y, and Z with you. Like your brain picks up on it and fixates on it. Like that person was horrible to you. That person wasn't very nice to you today. Like why is that? And you either blame yourself or it's like, well, they can't do that. Why can they do that? You know what I mean? And it's like trying to get people to understand what that condition means in a workplace and how it doesn't make you a bad employee. In a lot of ways, it makes you a good one because you either the way it is it's one of two things. You either really care about your job or you really don't. You know? And like, it sounds weird, but the people you work for have a say in that. In terms of depending on how they treat you will determine how much or how little you care about the job, but to such an extreme extent that you're either willing to do anything for the place you work or you're willing to get fired because you don't care. You know what I mean? And I've had the condition, and it's interesting because having to live with it for so long, you kind of you do know when you're doing these things, but you can't stop. It's like if it was as easy as stopping, then people wouldn't have BPD. It's like, you know, people go, well, can you just like it's like, you know, can you just be normal, or can you just not do that for 5 minutes? It's like,
oh, you have cancer? Don't do that.
It's like, yeah, just ungrow that tumour, bud. You know, it's like, you know, this is what I say to people. It's like, you don't tell a cancer patient to stop having cancer. You know, you don't tell someone with a broken leg to just not have a broken leg anymore. It's like, I think this is the thing. It's like, I've always said the same thing. It's like when someone with BPD responds in what could be perceived as either an immature or irrational way, the key is to educate them and not belittle them for it. Educate them about why what they said or what they did isn't right, but don't fixate on it. It's not like saying, you know, be a doormat for these people. That's not right either, because I've always said people I don't want to be treated differently. However, I do want some understanding. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not saying treat me different. I'm just saying, like, just acknowledge that sometimes I do and say things that aren't what normal people do. That sometimes I might respond to something in a way that you either don't like or don't understand. You know? And it's like I'm really good with it in a way, and I'm quite proud of myself for that, because I just rather than resist it, I'm not sort of embrace it isn't the right word. It's more I'm just willing to let it run its course rather than trying to resist, because resisting it is going to make it worse. It's like the longer you suppress it for, the worse it gets. It's like, you know, that feeling of anger, if you don't let it out, then you're just going to get more angry.
I always bottle all my emotions up.
Oh, I did that for a long time, and it ended up with a problem with substance abuse and trying to jump out of a window, so we don't do that anymore. It's like, that's why I don't do it anymore.
Because, but like, unless someone really digs at me, you know, asking if I'm actually feeling alright and all that, I'm actually not going to tell anybody, and I'm just gonna build up until it erupts on someone, and I'm just, and I like end up injuring someone who's actually innocent.
Yeah, you end up taking out on somebody who doesn't deserve it. And this is the thing, like, the way I try and explain it to people, it's like, you know, some people have been really good with BPD, like people in my life who don't know anything about it. They're like, well, what does that mean? What is BPD? I've said, basically, think about it as your brain can regulate your emotions, right? And it can regulate your responses to things in a fairly normal way. It knows what's an acceptable response. Now, you take that rule book and you throw it out the window, you've got BPD. Like, you know, it's like the regulating kind of the reasoning process behind responses to things just doesn't happen. And so you end up with this raw response that's either good or bad, right? But you get a very, you know, it's the one thing I've always said, Nathan, is like you know, what's the word I'm looking for, with BPD, you will never ever wonder what that person is thinking. Never ever will you be like, you will never be questioning what's on that person's mind, because they will tell you. They will tell you if you've pissed them off. When they square up to you and go, you what, mate? At least that's where, like, you know, all my friends, there's not one of my friends that doesn't know where they stand with me. Because if I feel like they've been a bad friend, I'm the first, or if I feel like I've been a bad friend, I'm the first to say something. Like, if I haven't spoke to somebody in a long time and then they pop back up and I'm like, yeah, I'm really sorry I haven't spoke to you, I feel awful about that, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I'll tell them I don't particularly feel proud of it, but it's one of them things. And BPD, that one of the positive traits is that people with BPD tend to be extremely honest in a good way. And they tend to be very loyal to the people they care about.
You remember when we had that last heat wave before this one?
Yes.
So going back then, how do you like Laser Quest, that entertainment with this person at the time at the meet up with?
Yeah.
And oh my god, him and his PA were taking the piss.
Really?
And my temper is short enough.
Yeah.
Especially in hot weather, it's even shorter.
Well, yeah, hot weather makes everybody angry, man. I understand that.
So after second game, we went to games, but after second game, second game, his PA teamed up with me. Trying it's more fair. It's 2-on-1, him and the last game against me. And all through the second game, she goes over to his side because she's his PA.
Yeah.
And then he comes out, and then this person, I'm not going to name him, even though I know he doesn't go on the internet much, comes out bragging that he's won. Oh my God, I absolutely lost it. I had the look on the face. I had the look on my face of a killer. I was literally about to. I was literally about to kill him.
Well, what you should have done is just beat him to death with the butt of your gun.
I was literally about to put my bare hand down his neck.
Well, you know, it's a pro tip, man. You know, during laser quest, you can conserve ammo by using a combat knife.
Because I just absolutely lost it.
Well, no, that's understandable. You know, it's one of those things. If you have a problem with regulating that, then sometimes things are going to push your buttons. I was gonna ask Klepto. You were gonna tell us the story about how you ended up getting shanked. Then.
Oh right, yeah. Sure you want to hear it?
I'm curious, man.
Alright, gather around the campfire, little kiddies.
It's just one of those things where you find out about somebody, you're like, wait, what?
Alright, okay, so it's a fairly long story.
Okay.
I'll try and keep it as short as possible.
Sure, man.
My sister's boyfriend broke into my house and tried to kill my sister, and I got in the way and he stabbed me 4 times.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a nice fella.
Oh, brilliant.
The
brilliant.
the hell is wrong with people?
Well, if you wanted the whole story, it is that guy. Right, so this dude and my sister had a child together.
Okay.
And that child is my beautiful niece Maya.
Yeah.
She's absolutely fucking wonderful, gorgeous person.
Mhm.
And this guy, while my niece was around 1.5, 2, decided while my sister was at work, he decided he wants to go out and get high.
What
So
was his drug of choice?
Sorry?
What was his drug of choice?
Probably weed or cocaine.
Okay.
So he leaves my niece, a 1.5-year-old to 2-year-old, in a flat on her own.
Okay.
So this is the start. So my sister decides, fuck that dude. I'm gone. I'm taking the kid with me. I'm gonna move back in with mum and dad.
Well, that seems perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, like fuck that guy.
Yeah, that guy's a dick.
So as she was like storming off angrily out of her flat, she found his car and kicked it, put a dent in it.
Okay, yeah.
Which then, fast forward a couple of weeks, to my sister's last day of work, because she had to quit. So I don't know what reason, but she had to quit.
Okay.
And as she was coming home back to my parents' house, she was on a bus. He followed the bus in his car.
So he found out which bus she was on and followed it.
He waited outside of her work until she finished her last day of work.
Oh Christ! Okay, so psycho.
So, yeah, he followed the bus.
Yeah.
And found out where she was, pretty much.
Okay.
Found her at my parents' house.
Mhm.
It was I can remember the fucking time of day, what the weather was like that day.
Okay.
It was a bit cloudy. It was August the 4th, 2012, at 6 o'clock. She got in the door.
Yeah.
And she said, I think I'm being followed by, I'm not going to say his name, but I should.
Person. Yeah.
Name shame. Alright. My parents on a Saturday go to my grandparents' house.
Okay. Yeah.
And they took my niece with her, so it was just me and my sister in the house. Thankfully.
The kid wasn't there. Yeah, at least is that.
Kid wasn't there. Kid doesn't know what happened still, and she's like going on 9 now.
Jesus.
She don't know any of this happened.
Probably for the best at this point. Maybe until she's older.
Yeah, she found my scar and said, "What's that?" When she was like 4 or 5, I said, "Wait until you're 15, and I'll tell you."
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't traumatize
I
them.
would say 8. I would say 8 till 18.
Oof. Well, teenager at least. Yeah.
Let's understand what and why.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm in my room. I've got my headphones on. I decide on that day I'm gonna do the coursework that I have for college.
Okay.
So I start drawing for college, and then I hear a fucking window smash.
Okay. Yeah.
And I believe it's coming from downstairs, like the kitchen area. So I walk out of my room, and the layout of my room is I walk out of my room. To my right is the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
Outside of the bathroom is an outhouse.
Yeah.
So you can climb on the outhouse and get through the bathroom window, which is exactly what he did.
Okay.
But me not knowing that, I walk straight out of my room and look over the banister to head down the stairs to see, oh, the kitchen window's been busted through.
Mhm.
But obviously, I didn't see any window being busted through from the banister.
Well, yeah.
So I looked to my left when my sister was in her room. She was looking like through me, screaming her fucking tits off. His face was blood red. And I looked to my right, and there he is stumbling through the window and falling onto the ground because it's quite a high window. And
Okay.
in my mind, it is. There's an intruder in this house.
Yep.
Hit them. Do not stop hitting them. Get them out of the house.
Yep.
It didn't even occur to me until after I threw my first punch who it was.
Well, yeah. So you went into full on self-defense mode, like defend the house, defend people
I
in the
didn't go into
house.
defense mode. I went on attack mode.
Yeah.
I fucking went beast on this guy. I fucking smacked him as hard as I could.
Yeah.
And he took it. Fair play to him. He took it like a champ.
Mhm.
He jumped up off the floor, grabbed his arm around my head, and this is a signature move because him and my dad had a fight,
Mhm.
and he got my dad in a headlock and just beat the shit out of my dad. Black eye.
Right.
So, this is his signature move. He's gonna try and punch me in the face. I'll defend for this.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, my chest hurts, and it hurts really bad. And then I'd been stabbed twice.
Okay.
At that point. I see the knife coming in again. I see a shiny object in his hand coming towards me, so I grab his wrist, and it's like this bit's kind of like a movie.
Yeah.
He's like pushing against my hand. It's my left hand
Yeah.
that's holding on to him. This is my non-dominant hand, so it's not strong. And it's his right hand, which is obviously stronger.
Yeah.
And the knife, very slowly, very painfully, digs into my chest for a third time.
Yeah.
So obviously, I'm gonna go into shock right now. I'm gonna fucking scream at the top of my lungs.
Yep.
Which kind of scared him. And
Yeah.
he let me go. So I turned around, put my right arm across his chest, pushed him up against the wall, got my left hand that's got the knife in it, and I pushed the knife, which is in his hand. No, actually, that's not happened. Right, so I pushed him against the wall.
Mhm.
With my left hand, which is still holding onto his right hand, I pulled on his jumper, and I rip it down, and wrap it around the blade.
Mhm.
So I can grab the blade.
Yeah.
And have more control over than he does.
Makes sense.
So I bend the blade to the side, and it pierces the wall. It takes a chunk out of the wall. Like, this knife is fucking sharp.
Yeah. Sounds it.
Yeah. So I've got him pinned against the wall, and the knife's in the wall,
Mhm.
and I'm holding him there, and I don't say anything. I'm just staring into his eyes, and he looks at me and he says, "I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill you."
Mhm.
And so he throws himself down the stairs while I'm still holding on to him. So we both fly down the stairs. He lands stomach down, head down, like feet facing the top of the stairs
Mhm.
at the very bottom, and I land on my back halfway downstairs and bounce back up. So I'm instantly on my feet again. So I'm on my feet. He's laid down. I just start beating at the back of his head and give him a good 5 or 6 punches at the back of his head.
Mhm.
And then I happen to miss one. I look up and he's out of the kitchen door. He's out of the house. He's ran off.
Okay.
Because he ran in the kitchen, there's a lot of kitchen knives that are just lying around.
Yep.
So I thought, oh, he's going in the kitchen, he's going to get more knives. So I run into the living room and I hide behind the couch. And
Mhm.
after about 20 seconds, I think, oh, he's gone, he's not coming back. And yeah, he was gone and he wasn't coming back.
Mhm.
And then I see on the floor, I see 2 drops of blood.
Yep.
So I look at my left hand at the back, it's dry. I look at the front, it's dry. I look at the back of my right hand, it's dry. I turn my hand over to look at the front, and it's just all blood.
Ah, so it's... And that's when you realise, I guess.
Yeah. And then I clench my fist, and then all of a sudden I see white in my wrist, which is obviously the bone.
Oh, yeah.
So then I'd definitely go into shock then.
Yeah, that's when your body's like, oh.
Fuck, that's a bone. I'm gonna need stitches. Never had stitches before in my life.
It's not occurred to you once that your chest is bleeding at this point.
Oh, my chest is bleeding, but it's not deep enough to need stitches.
Okay.
But the chest hurt more than the wrist.
Well, yeah, you've been
Because
fucking stabbed.
When he sliced the wrist, I don't know when he did it, I don't know how he did it, but it happened.
Yeah, so...
And when it was so quick, they severed the nerve.
Ooh, man.
So, my hand, to this day, which is going on, what, 8 years ago?
Yeah.
8 years ago this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's still numb.
Is this your
So
left
I can't-
hand?
Sorry?
Your left hand,
No.
or...
No, this is my right hand.
So
My
you...
dominant hand. It's numb.
It's still numb.
It's still numb.
Jesus. Did they catch him?
Oh yeah, he got remanded in custody for 2 months and got released.
So he's still out there?
Oh, and maybe a couple of months later, he got arrested for robbing a taxi at knife point.
Oh, what a piece of shit.
And he got, I think, 2 years for that. He wanted a free ride in taxi, so he threatened the taxi driver with a knife and got arrested for 2 years.
Well, that's a really fucking smart move, because what's going to happen? Well, there's cameras in a taxi.
Well, yeah.
So
But
that's...
obviously, like, I'm bleeding from fucking my wrist and my chest.
Yeah.
And I've got a massive carpet burn down my back from falling down, from being dragged down the stairs.
Yep.
What else? What else is there to tell? That's pretty much it.
Jesus.
I didn't. Well, an emergency response unit came half an hour later while I was bleeding into a sink.
Half an hour later?
Half an hour, because it was not priority, because I wasn't unconscious or not breathing.
But as far as your... But you could have been bleeding out, man.
Yeah, could have been. My skin turned white.
Yep. You're losing a lot of blood. You've got exposed bone.
Oh yes.
But you're not a priority.
No, not priority.
Okay. Okay, you try and fucking work that out.
Because there'd be some fucking spice head in town that's ODing.
Yeah, there'll be some crackhead somewhere that's died or something, or that's...
Yeah.
You know, they need to save the crackhead's life who made that choice themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the 15-year-old kid who just got... someone attempted to fucking stab.
Yeah.
Like, well, successfully stabbed several times.
Yeah.
Jesus, man, I never knew that. Good on you for fighting back.
That's not even the worst bit.
Oh.
Hold on to your fucking boots. Right, so I got compensation for it.
Yeah.
£992.75.
That's a really random amount.
Yeah.
It was an even thousand, but the cost of getting the paperwork for compensation was reducted in that.
Okay.
So I got just under £1,000 for it.
What, was this paid by him?
No, this was paid by the government for my injuries.
Okay. I don't understand how that works.
So if you have a loved one that is murdered,
Yeah.
you can get up to £250,000.
Yeah.
So, so this is a completely different story. My mum and dad got into a little bit of a car accident
Yeah.
because of some diesel on the road.
Yeah.
My mum got whiplash
Okay.
and got around £3,000.
Yeah.
So like, I nearly died protecting my sister, and I got 100 grand. My mum and dad gets in a slip, crash into a traffic light, and she hurts her neck and gets 3 grand.
Seems a bit backwards.
Yeah, it seems a bit backwards, doesn't it?
I say a
Yeah,
bit
so-
backwards. It seems a lot backwards, but you know.
Yeah, and said, we'll send you to victim support, which is my therapist.
Which well, that's at this point that's a given. It's like if they don't do that, then come on.
Yeah. Well, that didn't really help out because the people that work in victim support are volunteers.
Yeah.
They don't get a fixed paycheck. They rely solely on donations, which I gave them £100,
Yeah.
like each time, for like thank you for helping me, even though you never helped me.
Just out of the fact that they've tried, I suppose, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because I felt like it was my obligation to donate.
Yes. Yeah. But you know, again, doing a good thing.
What? What? What are you saying? What did you say?
So you did a good thing by doing that.
I went to victim support 3 times.
Yep.
And each time it was a different therapist.
So not even a case with the same person.
No.
That's.
So each time I'd had to explain what had happened, and they didn't focus on that. It was like, how do you feel?
That's not the point.
I can't fucking sleep. I dream about the first dream that night. I dreamt of that guy coming into the house again with all my family there. He had us all at knife point.
Yep.
And I take the knife off him and I stab him in the lungs.
Yeah. Again,
That
makes
night,
perfect sense.
My first dream I had, and it's fucking vivid. I remember every detail of that dream. And I have that dream several of the times afterwards.
Yeah. So they're not focusing on the trauma here. They're asking how you feel.
Yeah, they're asking how I feel. Like, I'm tired. I can't sleep. I can't think straight. My hand doesn't work. I can't do the things that I live doing.
I'd just be like, how the fuck do you think I feel, dude? You know?
I did say that at one point. I'm the third person. Like, I've done this 3 times now. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
So, fuck you. I'm gone.
Yeah.
The police. Right, so back to the day.
Yeah.
The ambulance that came, the emergency response unit, they came, and to hold my wound in place, my flesh together, they used masking tape.
Right.
So they just taped up my wrist. It was exposing bone. You know the white tape? It's like paper that will soak through when anything gets into it.
I'm no medical professional, but I'm just saying that doesn't seem right.
No, it's not right at all. They should have put like at least some sort of hematomic dressing on it.
Yeah, there should have been some kind of dressing. I mean, that's like, I'm not even first aid trained, and I'm like, yeah, exposed bone, this is a big deal, you need to put something on that now.
Yeah.
Also, is it infected? You know?
I was just hoping that the knife was clean.
Yeah.
I had several jokes on Facebook after this whole thing went down. I posted on Facebook like I've been stabbed 4 times. I've got 5 stitches in my hand.
Yeah.
Someone said, "Hey, he might have AIDS now."
Really?
Thank you. I can't walk to my bedroom without breaking down. Thank you for saying I have AIDS.
Well, thank you for making a joke out of my trauma. Thank you.
Yeah. Great friends. Never spoke to him since.
I thought you were being an act.
Yeah, so the police eventually came around.
Mm-hmm.
And the CSI crew.
Yep.
The police ended up taking me to the hospital.
Not the emergency responders when they saw you had slashes across your chest or exposed bone?
Yeah, they taped me up and then they fucked off. I didn't even know that they went. They didn't say bye or anything. It was like, that should hold it. Right.
Until when?
Yeah. Fuck, I don't know, man. And then the police were waiting for him to come back. It's like, they're not coming back, are they? Like,
Yeah.
We've got people on the radio like, no, they're not coming back. Like, alright, well, I guess we'll take you to fucking A&E then.
The police must have been fuming.
Yeah, they were.
That is...
I was sat in the back of a cop car with my wrist held on with fucking tape.
Bleeding?
Yeah, bleeding. People walking past, like, looking at me in the back of a police car, like, what the fuck's this guy done? Like, you know, I'm not a criminal.
Because you're in the back of a police car. It's an assumption. Yeah.
Yeah, back to something. outside in the back of a police car covered in blood.
Yeah.
They think you've like stabbed a family of 3 or something.
Even us for the wrong reasons.
My t-shirt on the chest is profusely wet with blood. It was a grey shirt as well, so it was very noticeable.
Oh God.
Long time to wear grey.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I remember seeing two teenage boys on their bikes just like they stop across the road from when I'm in the back of the car. And like, they're just like, what the fuck? What have you done? They're like, I could tell them out there. What have you done? What have you done? No, I'm not fucking talking to little shits like you.
Little grebes going, what's he done?
What have you done? What have you done?
What you done, mate?
Fuck on
Who
your
have you
fucking
told
school
up, mate?
Yeah, so I got into the fucking hospital. They stitched me up and everything like that. Cleaned out the wound, whatever.
So they did their job eventually.
Yeah, they did.
But only at the hospital they did their job.
Yeah, only at the hospital did they do their job after 20 minutes of waiting.
Oh my God.
Yeah. All right. Next part of the story. The police recommended we get a restraining order.
I feel like
All for that.
I'm sorry to cut you off there, man, but I just feel like a restraining order at this point isn't going to do much about somebody who literally broke into your house with a fucking knife.
Yeah. Well, if you want to hear his excuse from his court trial, was I brought the knife because my dad wanted the knife.
Anyway, I think I'm gonna go and get off now.
Oh man, no worries. I'll continue the story without you.
No worries, dude. I'll catch you soon, Albert.
Oh
Yeah?
no, it's because I need to go to toilet and I want to go off to bed.
Yeah, man. You get yourself to bed, man.
No
Have
worries.
a good night, yeah.
You too, dude.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Right, so we get the.
So he was supposedly being a good citizen, returning your dad this knife that just so
Yeah.
happened to end up in your chest and also severing nerves in your wrist.
Yeah.
Okay.
He wanted the knife. My dad wanted the knife. He wanted the knife.
Did he specifically ask for it to be stuck in you at this point, or fucking hell?
I don't know. I wasn't at the court date. I wasn't there. I couldn't go. I couldn't face it.
I wouldn't have either, man. I'd have just been like, yeah, if I ever see that guy again, I'm going to murder him, so let's not do that.
Yeah. The thing is, I wish I'd have gone now.
Yeah.
Looking back, I wish I could have like.
Just
looked in
faced
the
him
face
down,
and
yeah.
Gone on the bench with the solicitor and like told my side.
You were a 15-year-old kid.
Yeah. Oh, 60.
Well, you were a kid at that point. Like, no one's going to judge you for not wanting to face up to that.
Alright, so the restraining order gets put in place.
Mm-hmm.
You can't come within 500 meters of the house, otherwise he gets immediately arrested again.
Okay.
So my sister decides to go back with him.
Okay.
Yeah. So they get back into a relationship again. They take my niece away from our family again. And, yeah.
No.
So as you can tell, my relationship with my sister is not on the best terms even to this day.
What, are they
I
still...
mean, I still talk to her every now and like whenever she comes around. I only really see my sister because she's gotten married since then and had another kid with someone else.
I was going to say, she's not still with that piece of shit, is she?
No.
Oh, thank God. Jesus.
Yeah, but like to this day, I cannot forgive her for what she did.
That she got
With
back...
that, and she got back with him, yeah.
You see, out of... not... regardless of how that person felt about the other person, the fact that... Right. Hypothetically, if somebody's severely injured... So let's say Chloe went off on a mad one and, like, hospitalised my brother... I wouldn't even think about it for 2 seconds. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, you tried to fucking kill my brother. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's out of the question. It's like, that. in some ways, I'm gonna say it, in some ways that's worse than taking an abuser back. Do you know what I mean? Like it wasn't
Oh,
even.
He wasn't an abuser. He broke her ribs while she was pregnant.
Okay, so he abused. Did she do it out of fear then?
No, she did it out of choice.
Jesus. All right then.
Because it was after the. It was after the restraining order got put into place that she willingly went back to him. So it wasn't a breach of the
Restraining order because it was her choice.
Yeah.
Okay. That doesn't. I just don't. I don't understand. And I don't think anyone's ever going to understand why.
She gave a reason why. It's just a stupid fucking reason.
Was it? What was it? Love or?
Spot and pal.
I'm sorry, but that doesn't quite cut it when someone tried to kill someone in your family.
Yeah. Try telling that to her.
Ugh.
Oh, and I should like really mention.
Yeah.
When I came back from the hospital, maybe like 2 days later.
Yeah.
She gave me a small bottle of Bell's whiskey. As a thank you. So my life for her was a bottle of Bell's whiskey, an £8 bottle of whiskey. That's what I felt in that moment. She handed me the whiskey and was like,
mate, this happened like a long time ago, and I'm angry for you.
Dude, I'm still angry. There's not a day goes by where I don't think about that.
Like it didn't even happen to me, and I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes just hearing about people doing shitty things is enough to boil my blood, and this goes beyond shitty things. This is attempted murder. Like Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah, it wasn't premeditated. That's why you got away with it. It's like, oh, had you not been there, things might have gone different. If I hadn't been there, my sister would be dead.
Yeah, so somebody was definitely gonna get stabbed that day, whether it was you or her.
Yeah. So I would have come home with my parents and my niece.
Found your sister dead.
From my nan's house, and found her dead.
With him maybe even still there.
Yeah.
Waiting for somebody else to come home.
Maybe. Yeah.
So, and you're telling me it's not premeditated, that he brought a knife to the house, found a way into the house, that he knew we would be able to get into the house. Not only did he get into the house with said knife, he then used that knife on the first person he came across.
Yeah.
So
but he didn't know I was in the house, because he only followed my sister home from work. So he thought that she was in the house alone.
So he premeditated to kill her.
Yes.
So that makes it.
I was a big shock on his face. The fucking look on his face when he saw me come out of my bedroom was priceless.
Jesus.
It was fucking glorious.
That was probably his oh shit
lit up.
moment.
He hadn't seen... The first time I met him, I was only a kid. I was probably like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
So coming into this house and seeing a 6 foot 16-year-old with a history of boxing.
Probably scared him.
Yeah.
Thinking this guy could probably ruin this whole plan, and he was like, if he gets out of this, if he gets out of this, I'm fucked.
What the fuck do I do?
Yeah. Doesn't make it like any less awful though.
And the sad thing is, the police told me in an interview about what happened was that I should be thankful that I wasn't getting arrested for excessive force.
Excessive force.
Excessive force. Because I punched him like 7 times.
So you punched a dude who literally tried to murder you and cut you to the point where there's bone exposed.
Yeah.
So this dude literally sliced you up like a butcher.
Yeah.
And you were the one who got told you're lucky you're not being arrested.
Yeah.
Basically, lucky, good job the boys in blue didn't want to cook you that day. It's like, oh, you could have gone to prison for, not dying. Fuck me.
For defending your household and yourself
This is
as an armed intruder carrying an offensive weapon. For the crimes that he did that day, he should have had at least 30 years.
And he got like what, 3?
And he didn't get sentenced. He got remanded in custody for 10 months. He got put in a cell for 10 months.
It's almost so unbelievable that you kind of can't help but laugh at the system for that.
The system is absolutely fucked.
Now here's my problem with that. The whole thing. I don't agree with American politics or law on a lot of things, but their law around intruders, I can get behind.
It's pristine. It works.
If somebody, put it this way, I've got 2 children and a partner in this house.
Yeah.
If someone breaks in and is a threat to them, they aren't leaving alive.
Exactly.
And I am not afraid to explain to a police officer why I have chunks of dead burglar in my house. Like, if they go, why is that man in 50 pieces? It's like, well, I was going to dispose of the body, but you guys turned up first. It's like, you're going to prison for this. Okay.
Yeah.
You know? It would be that simple. Like, you're going down for this. Yeah. And if they ask me if I'd do it again, I'd go, yeah. You know? It's like it doesn't come into the question. If someone comes into my home, disrespects me to the point where they attack my family and hurt my... like, you know what I mean? It's like... How the hell? I don't believe in violence, except in self-defense. Firmly believe that the only time for violence is the last resort, or self-defense.
Yeah.
And I always have believed that. But, Jesus Christ, man, like, the fact that they said you were lucky not to get arrested, I don't know how you didn't look an officer dead in the eyes and go, you can fuck off, pal. Like...
No, I had to sit back and bite the fucking bullet.
You do better than me, because I'd have probably got myself in trouble. I'd have probably just literally listed everything off there. So you're saying that I used excessive force when a guy tried to murder me and my sister?
Yeah.
I used excessive force. Me. A literal child.
I think what they said was, we could arrest you for using excessive force. And my response was, shrug.
Well, that's exactly...
I don't give a fuck. If I find him in prison with me, believe you me, one of us is going to die.
Well, I mean, the fact this guy still wanders around, like, how... I'm kind of disgusted that this guy still is free to walk around.
We're in the same boat.
What?
We're in the same boat.
I mean, it's like, there's a lot of people that I'm disgusted can freely walk around, i.e., again, not naming names, but my abuser from a past relationship. The fact that she can walk around a free person, I'm disgusted at. And it's, I say I'm not going to name names, because literally it was nearly a decade ago. You know what I mean? I was like, what, 19? I think about the time that was happening to you was about the time I was experiencing that. Because you said August 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah, practically the exact same time, if I remember rightly. Like, that was around the same time I was going through the hardest part of my life as well, but obviously for different reasons. I didn't get murdered, but like, or attempt to murder, but like, you know, no one came out with a knife. But you know, it's like, and I thought I was mad about that, but Jesus Christ, dude! Like, have you ever seen him anywhere?
Have I ever seen him anywhere?
Like this dude, have you ever actually come across him? Since?
Only reading his newspaper article that he got arrested for robbing a taxi.
And is he in prison now, or?
I think he got like 6 years for that.
6 years for that, but not for trying to murder your sister and trying to murder you.
But 10 months for that.
That is so backwards. Like, I don't know where to begin with how backwards that is.
You're preaching to the choir, my dude. It's not fair.
No, it isn't fair. I mean, if you ask me, he should have been put away for, like, say, at least 30 years for something like that.
Alright, so the crimes he did that I tallied up.
Premeditated well, it was premeditated against your sister.
Yeah, premeditated assault.
Yep.
At least. Premeditated murder.
Yep.
Trespassing.
Yep.
Breaking and entering.
Yep.
Criminal damage.
Yep.
GBH.
Yep.
ABH.
Yep.
and I think there's one more.
Attempted murder.
Damage to property and vandalism because he took a chunk out of my wall.
Yeah, not to mention the
So-
fact attempted murder of a minor
Yeah.
because you were 16 years old.
Yep. But I defended myself, and he got 10 months.
The United Kingdom justice system, ladies and gentlemen.
It's fucking terrible. It's so skewed because they don't want to look racist. And I know that's a controversial topic.
It's not a controversial topic, man. That's exactly why it happened.
The dude was Zimbabwean.
That doesn't make it okay.
I know it doesn't make it okay.
It's like,
This is just what I'm saying. Like, I believe if this dude was white, I think he would have got more jail time.
fair enough. As I say, it's like, obviously I don't know for a fact, but what I'm saying is that if that's genuinely why they didn't prosecute him, then they've done a massive injustice to everyone involved in that situation.
Exactly.
Because not only that, but even if we look at this from the offender's perspective, does that means that he's like, well, I only got 10 months for that.
Yeah.
So what stops him from doing it again, because he's not going to get long for it?
Exactly, and he did it again.
So what does that tell you? If they'd just done the right thing the first time and put the guy away, he probably would not have reoffended because he'd still be in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and not only does that leave, it's, as I say, the way I see it, it's like, I think it's so hard to say whether it is anything to do with that or not, but I think that there's a strong case for potentially maybe they were more lenient with him on some front, because
I believe a lot of this, because a lot of people are racist. A lot of government officials are racist. And
Yeah.
There's evidence in the police and in the judges and stuff like that. And I just firmly believe that this judge on this day was scared of being a racist.
scared of having his career ruined and being called a racist.
Yeah, oh, this person's black, why are you giving him such a hard sentence? Is it because he's black?
And then it's like, then he has to defend that, and it's like he didn't want the hassle, basically.
Yeah, and so I'll give him 10 months.
If anything, it might not even be not even devil's advocate, because I'm not arguing against it. What another way you could look at it is maybe he just didn't want the hassle of having to defend his decision. He didn't want the hassle of having to defend it against people who would have called him racist. Maybe it wasn't fear. Maybe it's just like, I'm not. Basically, he was like, I'm not touching that subject with a 10-foot barge pole, and that's why he didn't even go there.
Yeah.
It's like, I think there is a lot of fear around that, but I think what bothers me about that is that there are legitimate racists who get away with it, and then people who are afraid of being called racist because just because, and it's like, you shouldn't let it's like, regardless of somebody's race, the crime should be the same sentence. But then on the other foot, you look at America, stuff that, like, there's been African Americans who've been murdered for stuff that white guys would have got a slap on the wrist for.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't matter, and that's the same thing, but the opposite way around. And either way is stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The other thing is with Americans though, if someone is caught like let's say just some regular white dude goes into a house and kills 2 people,
Arrested.
the officer 2 consecutive life sentences.
Yep.
And I believe that should be the same thing here.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're gonna go to prison for 170 years.
Definitely.
Okay.
You ain't getting out.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna die in it. And to my knowledge, there's only one person in England that has that, and that's fucking the Yorkshire Ripper.